Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Hass and welcome to the Duke University video chat. Our theme for today is the first year experience, so feel free to ask any questions about what it's like to be a freshman at Duke, residence life, dining, etc. We're here to answer your questions. You can do that by commenting in the comment section, and we have about 4 students with us that will be willing to answer those questions for you. Like I said, I'm Sarah. I'm from Granite Falls, North Carolina, which is a small town about 2 hours away from Duke in the Piedmont of the Appalachian Mountains. I'm a student ambassador for admissions because I have a blog. It's specifically for the first year experience, so you guys should check it out. It's linked to the admission page if you're interested. I also write a blog for Her Campus. I'm on the Media and Communications Committee for a new organization on campus called Face Aids, and I'm part of the Duke Catholic Center. Next year I'll be a FAC, which is a first year advisory counselor, so I may see some of you guys. As a major, I'm still undecided, but I'm sticking towards the humanities. My interests include cultural studies, communications, and women's studies. Now I'm going to let the rest of the students introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Palo Alto, California, so I kind of came a long way. I'm on the dining committee, which is really fun, and so you can direct all your food questions at me because I'm kind of obsessed with food, and I pride myself on knowing a lot about it on campus. I'm also in the sorority Tri Delta, which is a lot of fun, and I'm on the club tennis team, and I also am a social media intern for the Office of News and Communications. And I'm a public policy major, and I think I'm doing the Markets and Management Studies certificate program.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm from Boca Raton, Florida. I'm a junior majoring in political science, and I'm also doing the Policy, Journalism, and Media Studies certificate. I'm involved in DUU, that's Duke University Union, which is our programming governing body on campus. I'm also in a sorority. I'm in Alpha Phi. I'm on the FAC board, so I'm on the executive board of the First Year Advisory Council, and I'm on the LDOC committee, so I'll be bringing a huge concert to campus in the spring.
All right, so I guess that's pretty much it. We may have one other person joining us, and if he comes on, he'll introduce himself. And as for right now, you guys can start asking questions. We're here to answer them. Just ask about the first year experience, what it's like to be a freshman at Duke, the kind of opportunities that you have as students, what it's like to live on East Campus, go to the marketplace for meals, anything that you have questions about, we're here to answer.
Okay, so our first question is about the housing system, so I'm going to let you field that one.
Okay, so here's how housing works at Duke. As a first year, you're on East Campus. East Campus is strictly a first year campus. We have 14 residential halls on East Campus that you'll be randomly assigned to. They range in size from 50 students is the smallest, and the largest is over 200 students. They're all really, really wonderful, tight-knit communities. After that, you'll be sorted into a house. So the houses will be all across West Campus and Central Campus, unless you opt to do a selective living group, which could take the form of either a Greek organization or maybe an organization that is centered on civic engagement or languages. You'll be randomly sorted, and those houses will vary in size also from probably 30 students to about 100 students. And that will be the housing affiliation that you have for the next few years. So you are only required to live on campus for 3 years. As a senior, you have the opportunity to live off campus, but a lot of students do still opt to live on campus.
Okay, so the next question we have is about the meal plan. And they ask, what first-year plan do you recommend meal plan do you recommend getting as a freshman? And I would probably say that you should go for the medium plan because you can always add more food points. And then you never know, you're probably going to go through them because it's great to order pizza or something with friends. And if you have extra points at the end of the year, you can have a nice meal at the Waduke Hotel or something, or get some food to share with your friends. But it's always good to have extra food points to use at the end of the year. And you don't really need to start out with the biggest one because you can add more pretty easily online or on the iPhone app.
Yeah, it's really easy to add food points both on the Duke mobile app and also through the Duke card system online. So I always start with the smallest plan. This is just my strategy. And then always end up adding more at the end, but I just like starting with a smaller plan just to be safe.
Sarah, you're a freshman. Which plan did you start with this year?
I actually am on a financial aid package here at Duke, so I got the package that went with the financial aid, and it's been pretty good. Like Ashley was saying, it's easy to start off slow and then add on, because you'd rather do that than have extras at the end of the year. Yeah, it's really easy to add on points. It's really easy to add on flex, which if you don't know what flex is like food points, and you can use it for food, but you can also use it anywhere on campus. That's the Duke University store if you want to get T-shirts or any kind of memorabilia. We also have underneath the marketplaces, where you'll be dining next year. And actually, it's Blue Devil Days right now, so a bunch of P-Frosh are dining there right now. I just came from there, and I saw them in line. Underneath there's a store where you can get groceries, T-shirts, if you're running low on pens or staplers or anything like that. So that's where you can use Flex as well.
Okay, so the next question that we have is, how do you select your dorm, and do you pick a roommate? So you're going to be randomly selected to your dorm unless you opt in into one of the selective groups as a freshman. Those are the Performing Arts dorm, which is Pegram, and the Wellness Center, which is going to be in Jarvis this year. So those, you'll just express interest in either of those dorms. There aren't any qualifications except for interest in the title of either of the dorms. Otherwise, you're randomly put into a dorm, and you can opt to either pick a roommate or be randomly assigned a roommate. I don't know about you guys. I was randomly assigned a roommate, so I just filled out the quick survey that included my sleeping habits and my studying habits, and they paired me with somebody with similar habits. What did you guys do?
So I was a little bit different. I kind of wanted to be with someone that I knew a little bit before. So I had a friend who was a current freshman, so a grade above me, and I asked her to just kind of ask around and see kind of what, if any of her friends knew incoming freshmen, and one of her good friends did, and so they set me up, and if you guys mutually list each other as selecting each other for roommates, then you'll definitely be paired together. But another great way that a bunch of my friends actually found their roommates through is the class of, I guess, 2016 Facebook group. And there's definitely, someone will start a thread of kind of girls' roommates and then boys' roommates, and people kind of put interests, living habits, and kind of some more informal stuff, because the survey that Duke does online, it's just kind of the bare bones stuff, and this kind of goes into more detail on your favorite types of music, favorite types of food, stuff like that. And you can just kind of read through a bunch of people's and then message them, and it might seem pretty creepy at first, but it's actually, I mean, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's trying to meet people, and most people don't really know anyone. So you might as well just kind of, if you see someone who has similar interests, you can friend them or message them or something, and a lot of times those work out really well.
Yeah, that's exactly how I found my roommate. We met on the Facebook group, which sounds really creepy, but it ended up working out perfectly.
Yeah.
Her name's Johanna. She's actually upstairs getting ready to go out right now. She is awesome. We had a lot of similarities. We both thought we were funny, so that's kind of how we connected. Yeah. So, and actually, we requested to be paired together, and there was some sort of glitch in the system, and Duke was so accommodating and letting us, resubmit our applications. We got to be roommates after all, and we got to be in the same dorm, obviously. So it ended up working out really nicely. So if you do want to have a roommate that you know or that you pick beforehand, then Duke is definitely accommodating with that. And I've honestly not heard that many horror stories about random either. A lot of people find their best friends through random roommate assignments. So you can be fine either way.
But again, Duke is very accommodating, so even if you do randomly select a roommate and things are not working out later in the year, they will definitely help you through that, whether it is just to work out a better arrangement or to reassign your housing.
Definitely.
Okay, so our next question is, how is East Campus different than West Campus? So, I mean, we can all just kind of share different stories that we've had. East is basically, you live there. There are some classes here where other grades come and take classes, but for the most part, it's just freshmen. There's a dorm. There's a gym. There's tennis courts. There's dorms. There's a library. There's a dining hall. And I mean, other people from other grades come and spend time on East Campus, but for the most part, it's all freshmen, and it's just kind of really nice, seeing people around on the campus that you know that there's basically a 90% chance that they're also a freshman. So I mean, they're in the same boat as you, and you can sometimes upperclassmen can be a little intimidating. Not everyone's very nice, but it's easy to just kind of talk to a freshman. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a ton of fun. I love living on West this year as a sophomore. I was definitely kind of ready for the move, but everyone that I know had a really positive experience living on East.
Definitely. Yeah, I love living on East. I wasn't sure whenever I first applied to Duke. I was like, we're going to be on a different campus? Why are we separated from the upperclassmen? That doesn't make sense. But it actually was probably the best thing ever. And I don't think I've ever heard any of my friends or just in passing anybody say that they regretted being on East Campus or that they wanted to live on West or anything like that, maybe later. But it's just a perfect way to transition into college life. Everybody on East is a freshman. When you go into the marketplace for meals, you're guaranteed that you're going to see somebody that you know. So there's always somebody to sit with. You're just walking around the quad. People are out sunbathing. You just wave and say hello. It's just like a big community, a big family, actually. And all the dorms are really close, so it allows for a really good bonding experience that lasts throughout your time at Duke. I know a ton of people that are upperclassmen still go out with like their dorms from freshman year. They're still really close. I know Ashley can talk about that. I think she had a really good experience with her dorm. I think it was Bassett. Is that right?
Yeah. Of
course,
you know,
talk about that.
About it. I had the best experience as a first year. I absolutely loved all of the residents in my first year dorm. I got to know a lot of them because I was involved in house council living there. So when I was putting on programming, I was interacting with a lot of them. When we moved over to West, a lot of us flocked together, so I got to continue to live near them. One of my friends that lived down the hall ended up being my roommate the following year, so we kept the Bassett tradition going. And we're all still really, really good friends. Having gone abroad and coming back, we're all living all over campus, but we're actually having a reunion dinner next weekend. Will all 120 of us be there? Probably not, but I'm still really close with a lot of them, so it's really great that we were able to keep that connection even coming over to West.
And another thing about living on East, that like some people might think like, oh, we're really isolated on this campus away from kind of the West campus where there's the bigger library and more dining options and stuff like that. But the nice thing about East is that it's really kind of in a great location in Durham itself. And so like
definitely.
you can literally walk right across the street off campus and there's a Whole Foods, like Ben and Jerry's, food places. 9th Street has a bunch of cute like shops and restaurants, and kind of in the other direction there's a lot of like more restaurants and kind of some of the nightlife places people go out. And so it's really nice actually being able to walk so close, walk right off campus to get to all these other things.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just the other night, me and some of my friends went to Cosmic Cantina just for dinner. It's
My favorite.
Yeah, it's like a notorious place to go to eat here. You have to come try it if you come to Duke. It's basically just like a small Mexican restaurant, kind of like upstairs in like a little alleyway, and it looks kind of sketchy, but it's actually really awesome.
And it's open until 4 a.m., which is awesome.
So it's like a regular hangout for people. So that's just a walking distance away, and there's not really that kind of opportunity on West. And another thing about East is it's somewhere nice to come back to after a long day. Like, yeah, you've been studying in Perkins all night long, and you just want to come back, and it's just like a safe haven. You're just like, oh, I'm finally back home. It's nice to just be on East. And I think everybody kind of agrees that we're ready to like move on to West or move on to Central, but it was such a nice experience just to have for our first year. So we actually have another question. Liz, do you have something to say?
Well, I was just going to say, like, another, like, complaint people might have is, like, the buses, but the buses actually, like, you might think it's a pain, whatever, but you get used to them so quickly. And this year they actually added these things called East-West Expresses, which don't make any stops in between, and so those are really nice to get to class really quickly on West or East. So that's just another thing that really makes the East campus experience very easy.
So that's a really great transition, actually, I'm going to go ahead and combine these two questions here. So one of them is, do you recommend getting a car at Duke or just a bike? And the other one is asking about how transportation is on East campus. So do I recommend getting a car? I'm a second semester junior, and this is the first semester that I've had a car on campus. It was very, very easy not having a car for a number of reasons. First of all, the public transportation at Duke, meaning the bus system, is really, really easy to navigate. This year they started a tracking system that you can either check from your computer or you can check it from a mobile device. There's an app for it. And it's really, really great because you always know when the bus is coming, and it's so easy to get from east to west or east to central to west. So for that reason alone, you definitely don't need a car to get to class. We also were talking a lot about 9th Street and the restaurants there and the Whole Foods and everything. That's walking distance from campus. Downtown is also very close to campus too, so you definitely don't need a car to get to those places. If you feel like you need a car to get to, say, Target or something like that, we have the WeCar program, which allows you to sign up for an account and rent one of the cars that are available. You just sign up for it online, and so that way you don't have to worry about paying for insurance or parking or anything like that, and there's a car sitting waiting for you right there, and they're all electric cars too. So transportation on East Campus I kind of covered with the bus. Is it easy to get to classes on time? If you are good about checking when the bus is coming and leaving for class on time, then you will get to class on time. If you're late, it was probably your fault, not the bus's fault.
Yeah, and one quick thing I'm going to add is, as a freshman, I didn't have a car myself, and most of my friends really didn't have cars. I probably knew like one person that I wasn't even that close with who had a car. And it really it's really easy, and it also kind of encourages you to get to know the area right around East really well, because you're going to kind of walk off campus and get food as opposed to driving farther away somewhere. So that's really nice. As a sophomore, I know a lot more people who have cars this year, but it's definitely still not a necessity. But I mean, it's nice to know someone with a car, and chances are you'll definitely meet someone who has a car. But you don't necessarily need one yourself, and I don't think I'll have one next year either or anything.
So going back to the bike thing, Duke was just listed as a bicycle-friendly university by the League of American Bicyclists. So that basically means that we've made a lot of really remarkable efforts to become a bike-friendly campus. That's included repainting bike lanes, adding more places to be able to lock up your bike on campus and things like that. So a lot of students do have bikes on campus, both for commuting from off campus and for commuting from east to west campus. If you don't want to bring your own bike, we also have the Outpost where you can rent a bike, and you're only allowed to rent the bike for, I believe it's 2, maybe 3 weeks at a time, but it's really, really easy to renew the rental after that. So if you're worried about maybe your bike rusting over during the winter or the rainy season, you don't need to bring a bike for the whole year. You can just rent it when you want to use it.
Yeah, and this actually isn't the first transportation award that Duke's gotten, so among all things, we're also really good at transportation. We got best workplaces for commuters, like top 31 universities, by the National Center for Transit Research. So I wouldn't say like an astounding amount of people ride bikes, but definitely enough to see them pretty regularly every day. And the people that do ride bikes recommend it, I think, especially between east to west. It wouldn't be like a 30-minute walk without the bus. I mean, debatable. But with a bike, it's a nice drive or cycle. It's pretty scenery, and there's always good places to bike around. So I would recommend it if you are a biker. Okay, so keep the questions coming. These are really good questions, guys.
Okay. So the next question we have coming in is, what about traveling places for spring break? Do people stay in town? So this is actually interesting because I don't know how many of you actually read our admissions blog. If you don't, you should. It's blogs.admission or
Blogs.admission.
Kara's going to get the URL for us for that.
It's blogs.admissions.duke.edu.
Okay, perfect. So blogs.admissions.duke.edu. So we are all student bloggers for undergraduate admissions, and we talk a little bit about our experiences here. And sometimes when we don't want to talk about our own experiences, we talk about other people's experiences. So one of the posts that I just wrote about was the Alternative Break Program. So the Alternative Break Program is a program that Duke offers where you can do a spring break program on Duke's dime, and they have programs everywhere from DC to rural North Carolina. Sometimes they're service-oriented, sometimes they're just informational. Students have a really, really great time on these programs, and it's really great because sometimes it's too far to like fly across country or something like that, so they get to do something fun and exciting for their break without having to stay on campus. That being said, there are a lot of students that do stay on campus during breaks, and you are permitted to stay on campus. At the same time, a lot of kids go home, so you get a little bit of everything.
For me, it was really nice because I obviously didn't want to go home all the way to California because, first of all, it's really expensive and it takes me forever to fly home, which is just like kind of by the time I get home, I only have a couple days before I have to turn around and come back. So chances are you'll meet someone who lives a lot closer than you do if you're like me and from far away. And so one of my best friends lives in Florida, and so we've been the past 2 spring breaks, we've gone to her house, which is just kind of a shorter drive or flight. So I mean, it's nice to kind of go to friends' houses and take advantage of that and get to know new people and stuff.
Yeah, so my freshman and sophomore roommates were both international students, 2 different students. One was from Bosnia, which was randomly assigned, and one was from South Africa. And so obviously it was really difficult for them to go home for breaks. So I hosted both of them at home with me, and then we also did little road trips. We went up to New York for a weekend. So even as an international student, it isn't difficult to find something to do during spring break.
Okay, so the next question is from Tiana, and she asks, is there a curfew to be back in your dorm? No, there's not, so you can do whatever you want. No, just kidding. Basically, your Duke card can swipe you in to any dorm on East Campus, and that's up until 2 a.m. So you can go into any of your friends' dorms basically until 2 a.m., and then even later than that, you can get into your own dorm. So basically, that's kind of the only form of curfew thing that there is, I guess. But you could still, if you did want to go to another dorm after 2 a.m., you could always call your friend who's in there already or something and say, can you just let me in? But yeah, I mean, otherwise it's pretty much up to you where you want to go. Yeah, so.
That being said, upperclassmen do not have access to any of the first-year dorms at any time of day. So if I, as an upperclassman, wanted to come back and swipe into any freshman dorm, I couldn't do that. The opposite isn't the same, though. A freshman can swipe into any upperclassman dorm until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you feel safe walking around Duke at night? Yes, I do. I would say on East Campus, which is where we live, it's a little bit different than West just because Durham is right on the outskirts of campus. And you hear about things every once in a while, but it's pretty safe. I've honestly never heard of anything really legit going down. I always feel pretty safe when I'm walking back. The lighting's really good. Oftentimes I get one of my friends to walk back with me. There's always somebody. I mean, I would recommend that in general, but if you just happen to be by yourself for some reason, which happens to me all the time, and even late at night, I'm just fine walking back by myself. And it's a relatively small campus, too, so it's not like you're doing long-distance traveling, and there's lights around. So, yeah, I feel pretty safe on Duke's campus. And they also have, I guess they're called help poles. I'm not really sure. They have blue lights on them, and they're helping. Like, if anything were to happen, like, you definitely have that there. You just push the button, and you're, like, immediately connected to the Duke police. So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't worry about safety on this campus. I think Duke does a really good job to make sure all their students are safe.
Yep. And one other thing is Duke has its own police force, too, so there are always kind of security guards around. It's like, don't think that you're just left with Durham police who may not be here all the time. There's always security guards in the library and stuff, too. So, I mean, you should never really have a problem, but just in case, stick with a buddy, or the blue light poles are always a great option, too.
Definitely. Another question just came in. What type of parties or events does Duke sponsor on East Campus?
Okay.
I'm actually going to let Ashley take over this because she knows.
Sorry.
No, go.
So, the reason that I was so eager to answer that is because from day one, being a freshman here, I've been very, very involved in programming opportunities on campus. So what types of parties and events does Duke sponsor on East Campus? Well, each house council is given a budget, and so that budget is something that you can use for events within your dorm. Those events are organized by your house council, so they'll put on something like a cookout or maybe a movie night. They'll order pizza for everyone in the dorm. So that's one example of some social events that happen on East. But also there's the Devil's After Dark program, which is run by the house councils. So they have a budget to put on more large-scale events because they're available to the entire freshman community. And so those can be things like glow-in-the-dark freeze tag, or they'll do a movie on the lawn or something like that. So they're a little larger scale, and those happen every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So those are advertised in all of the dorms. You can keep up with those, and there's always something to do on the weekends on East Campus. Outside of that, we have through DUU a lot of programs that are open to the entire student body, and for the most part, they're free because they come out of your student activities fee. An example of that is the free water productions. So they show movies at, I think it's 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Anything from a Disney movie that you can sing along to a movie that just came out into theaters.
I saw Harry Potter at midnight. Well, it had like been in theaters only like 2 months ago, and they got it way before it was out on DVD. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'm going to add is just like even if you think you don't have time to go to like a whole big event in your dorm or something. Last year I lived in Giles, which is right on the main quad of East, and it was actually awesome to just kind of see posted like a flyer posted in my dorm like, oh, there's going to be free pizza tonight in the common room from 6 to 8. Come by and grab some if you want. And it was like free dinner, and I could just stop by even if I just had like 10 minutes before I had to go to the library or something. And that's actually still happening on West. I actually have free Loyo, free frozen yogurt in my dorm tonight on West, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many events on campus, and just specifically for freshmen, like Ashley was talking about the Devils After Dark, they're always doing something. They have a Facebook group online, so if you're on Facebook, they're always telling you like what events coming up. Just recently, I think it was last weekend or the weekend before, East Campus House Council hosted a Devils After Dark masquerade ball. It was Devils in Disguise or something like that. It was called. It was really clever. And basically, it was just like a semi-formal dance for freshmen. And all freshmen were allowed to go, and it was really, really fun. My personal dorm, GA, hosted another dance earlier in the semester of the first semester. It was like a winter ball, and it was another dance just in GA Down Under, which GA is a really cool dorm because we have a big room underneath our dorm. There's like tables that people can study in or hang out in, and a lot of events that East Campus House Council puts on goes on down there. And for large-scale events, like for all students, upperclassmen included, they have things like Old Duke, which is coming up. It's you want to speak on that, Grace?
Yeah. So Old Duke, it's so much fun. It's this concert that happens in kind of mid-April every year. And it's outside on kind of. It's not on the main quad. It's actually on this quad a little bit behind the main quad, where there's kind of a grassy hill that slopes down. And last year it was like 90s band Sugar Ray, which was a singer. I don't think it's a band. I think it's just one guy. But it was really fun because it was just like super nice weather. It was at 4 on Friday, so basically everyone was done with classes at that point. And everyone just kind of came out, laid blankets on the hill, brought food or whatever, and just hung out for a couple hours. And this year it's Shaggy, which I'm really excited about. And I think that's like at 4 also. And so you can just kind of come hang out with your friends, and it's a really just kind of low-key concert, whereas LDOC is our last day of classes, and that's kind of more of a big deal. This year we have B.O.B. Last year we had Ludacris, and that was awesome. But that's definitely kind of like a more like huge hip-hop, like big concert type thing on the main quad, which is really fun, but requires a lot more energy, whereas this is just kind of very like chill, nice Friday afternoon where you can just sit in the sun. So I'm really excited about that.
And even on small scales, that's
I was helping a prospective student that was lost. She looked anxious over there. I was like, I should go see what she was looking for. And it sounds like you were talking about my favorite things.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about LDOC, and I was getting ready to talk about the smaller scale stuff that's also available for underclassmen, upperclassmen. All the departments are really awesome. No matter what you choose to major in or what department you choose to pursue, every single one of them is great. They all have a bunch of things that they sponsor that kids can go to. Different speakers that they bring in. I know just recently Jennifer Sybil Newsom, who directed Misrepresentation, was here. Condoleezza Rice is coming soon. Who else have we had? We've had some really amazing people come and visit Duke and speak. There's also small-scale things like Duke Journeys, which is a an event where you can have like an intimate dinner with some sort of staff at Duke. I went to one with the professor, and she just kind of gave her life story. It was really inspiring. So there's always little things going on, and there's an events list that gets emailed to you every week, so you always know what's going on. Make sure you mark your calendar because there's so many things that you don't want to miss.
Okay, so our next question is, I'm thinking about signing up for a pre-orientation program. Is P-Wild the best? I didn't actually do one myself, but I would just say that kind of all of them have their benefits depending on what you're interested in. I know that one of my good friends in my sorority did P-Waves, and that's at the beach, and she had a really great time. P-Wild, I also know, is really fun. That's kind of more of a wilderness thing. There's also P-Build, where you do, I think, kind of outreach in the community, and then there's P-Search, where you do like research. So I mean, there's kind of just something for everyone. So if you're really into wilderness type stuff, P-Wild might be the best one for you, but it just kind of depends on your own individual interests.
Yeah, so as a prospective student, I signed up for one pre-orientation program and didn't get it and was assigned to another, and I was like, oh, that wasn't the one I signed up for, I'm not going to go. One of my biggest regrets looking back is not doing a pre-orientation program. They're included in your tuition, and they're a really, really great opportunity to form really strong bonds with students before even coming to campus. I know all of my friends that did either P-Wild or P-Build or P-Waves or P-Search, any of the P programs, only has positive things to say about the experience. So definitely encourage you taking advantage of opportunities like that on Duke campus.
But that being said, it's definitely not necessary. Like if you're feeling like you want the extra week to stay home and say goodbye to your family and friends before you come out. I didn't do one, and I barely really knew anyone when I was coming to Duke. So it's not necessary. You can start meeting people the second that you move into campus during freshman orientation, because we have enough, with the FAC program and stuff, we have enough kind of orientation opportunities for you to meet people anyway. So it's just kind of up to you when you want to start going to college, I guess.
It's totally a personal preference thing.
Yeah, definitely. I actually didn't do a pre-orientation program, but I kind of wish I did, because most of my best friends did P-Build and they absolutely loved it. And I've heard so many good things about all the pre-orientation programs. Everybody that's in the specific one is going to try to sell it to you. So if one of us had done one, then that would have been the best one, because everybody has a really amazing time, and they get really close to the other people that are in the orientation program. So it is kind of nice to come to Duke. From what I've heard, it's nice to come to Duke when you already know like a group of people pretty well because you spent a week with them. So that would have been nice to have, since I didn't know anybody coming to Duke as well. But it was still fine. The FAC program does a really great job, and you get really close to your hallmates in your dorm. So.
Okay, so our next question is, does Greek life start freshman year? What if I decide not to pledge or rush? Is it a big deal? So I'm just going to give a little kind of overview of how rush works for those of you who might not be familiar. Rush is what we call kind of going through the process of meeting all the fraternities or sororities and kind of deciding which one you're going to join. At Duke, it doesn't start until January, until you get back so second semester of freshman year, and you don't even have to do it if you feel like that's too soon for you to join, or you don't want to at the time. You don't have to at all. It's not required at all. And I know some people, like some of my best friends in my sorority, joined their sophomore year because they kind of didn't want to get involved yet freshman year, and then they decided they wanted to, so they joined later. I rushed second semester of my freshman year, and I had a great time. I love my sorority, and I kind of feel that everyone ends up finding the right place for them, so you definitely shouldn't stress about going through the rush process or anything, because people pretty much tend to wind up in the right place. Another thing is, it's really nice that Duke doesn't start it right away like some other schools do, because it really gives you a chance to make friends without any Greek involvement at all. You can make friends with girls, guys, and then you'll find that sometimes, like, I ended up going to the same sorority as a lot of my closest friends did, but I know a lot of other people that went to a different place, like that went to a different sorority or fraternity, and are still able to kind of have those connections with their Greek brothers and sisters, but also still have their friendships with people who are in other ones. So I mean, it's definitely not a make or break deal at Duke. Even if you join one frat or sorority, you can still 100% have friends in other ones. It really is not as like life or death as at some other schools might be.
Yeah, I think something that's really great about the Greek community here is that for a lot of students, their Greek affiliation is not what defines them. Like when we were giving our introductions, you probably noticed our Greek affiliation was not the first thing that we listed as something that we're involved in or interested in on campus. So it's something that I love doing and that has definitely shaped a lot of my social experience here, but it's definitely not crucial or defining in any way.
And I mean, if you're worried about kind of the social scene in terms of that, like there are other things going on that like Ashley mentioned earlier, like events that DUU hosts and dorms host dances. There are concerts. There are other like DUU kind of like dances and events and stuff like that. So it's not like you have to be in a fraternity or sorority or you think there won't be any parties or anything to go to. There's so much other stuff going on that you don't absolutely need to have Greek life. But it's a fun option, and you can always start the rush process and then drop if you decide it's not for you. So yeah, so it's no pressure. Just kind of, it's a personal preference, but you have all of first semester to kind of decide what you want to do.
And I'm actually not in a sorority, so I guess I can show that part of the Duke social life. I do agree with Grace that it's a good idea that Duke decides to do rushing second semester. I know a lot of my friends at other schools did it first semester, and there was a lot of pressures to rush, but Duke lets you kind of get used to, transition into college life, get used to Duke, and then allow yourself to rush. I did not rush, and I'm not in a sorority, but a lot of my really good girlfriends are, and they absolutely love it. I'm still great friends with them. It didn't really change much. I mean, yeah, during the rush process, they were really busy, but that's really the only thing that changed. As for me, the social life, it's different, but it's the same, if that makes sense. It's not the same as first semester because everybody was in the same boat, but it's not exclusive to the fact that, like, if you're not in a sorority or a fraternity, you can't go to certain parties or whatever. I honestly, it hasn't really changed my Duke experience at all. It just wasn't for me. So it's definitely not a big deal if you don't run. And I think if you're not comfortable with it or if you don't think it's right for you, don't feel pressured to do it because there's a ton of girls and guys that decide not to go through the rush process, and they still have a great time at Duke. So.
Okay, so it looks like we're out of questions for now, so we're just going to kind of wrap up. And I wanted to let everyone know that we're having another chat, the same kind of format, same setup, on global education, and that's going to be next Tuesday, April 17th at 6:30. You tune in the same way, Google+, and send in your questions the same way. So yeah, it's been great to talk to you guys, and I hope this was helpful for you.
Yeah, so don't forget to check out our blogs at blogs.admissions.duke.edu. And just to backtrack a little bit, global education may not be lingo you're familiar with, but that's what we refer to refer to the study abroad programs.
Oh, and one other thing, the video of this chat is going to be available on Duke On Demand. So if you tuned in late or something, or you have a friend or someone you know that wasn't able to tune in, you can just go to Duke On Demand, and the video will be right there.
Yeah, and I'm going to let Grace and Ashley tell you as well, but I'm pretty sure we all have Twitters. I'm not sure about Grace, but you guys are welcome to follow us. Mine is at Sarah, S-A-R-A-H-E, Haas, H-A-A-S. So I'm always tweeting about Duke Live. And I know if you're here at Blue Devil Days now or you're coming to Blue Devil Days in the future, there's a hashtag BDD2012, and you can check that out now if you're on Twitter because a bunch of students and faculty and even Christoph Gutentag is tweeting right now about the Blue Devil Days that are going on, and I really recommend you guys coming to those because it was really fun and it's a great way to figure out kind of what student life is at Duke. So yeah, feel free to follow us on Facebook. The University Admissions has a Facebook page. We also have Pinterest, Google+, Twitter. There's everything. Duke is great with social media. There's so many ways that you can connect. So make sure you guys do that to keep informed about what's going on Duke's campus. Thank you so much for allowing me to answer questions for you. I really hope you decide to come to the Duke because it's awesome.
Yep. Okay, so have a good week, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.